the weekly episode of the Freelancer Codex podcast. Your host, Steven, and co-hosts Mike, Devon, and JD are all set. Join us and tweet your questions at Freelancer Codex. Find us on Facebook at Freelancer Codex, or send emails to freelancercodex@gmail.com. Strap into your javelins, and let's drop in.
Welcome, freelancers, to episode 71 of the Freelancer Codex podcast, the longest-running Anthem podcast on the internet. I am your host, along with three of my co-hosts and a special guest joining us for episode 71. William from Your Anthem is back with us. William, how are you doing today? How's it going?
I am doing absolutely phenomenal. I'm thrilled to be back with you guys. It's good to be back with the Codex gents.
We are glad
We're
to
glad
have
to
you.
have you here. Welcome aboard.
Last time you were here, you were not an EA Game Changer. Now you are. So you've got all this information that we're going to dig out of you. We're going to break all the NDAs you've been given, because I mean, you have all this information. You just got to get it out, right? So what is there a better place to do it than here?
Yeah, sure. Why not? That's not how that works, but yeah, we can do that. Sure.
I'm sure that's exactly how it works.
Whatever Steven said.
The monitor is your dad, by the way.
We do apologize for the audio difficulties we are having this evening. Discord is up in arms, and so if Steve sounds like he's going through a tunnel in the 1980s on a cell phone, then
So I don't think anyone will actually hear my voice going out, because everything's going through my computer. So you guys will be the only ones that hear me.
So it's just our voices that are going out. Well, then it's just us. It makes
No,
it
actually,
good.
I actually see you guys.
It's just on the YouTube video, so when everybody watches.
I mean, that's pretty
awesome.
standard operation for my setup.
That's
like
awesome.
just internet problems galore. So.
And you know, we have been doing this for 71 episodes, so stuff like this is normal.
It's normal.
It just
We're on
happens,
71 episodes. Can you guys believe it? It's been a long time. We have been doing this for a long time.
It just sounds like Steven's swearing all the time, and
It really does.
his
It's
audio
like-
gets
like
cut.
he's
Steven
being
swears all the
bleeped.
time. I thought that was my job.
Like he's being bleeped. That's funny.
It'll be
I was
awesome.
but a boy when this all began.
Guys, did you know how many days there is till the launch of Anthem?
Yes, there's 21.
21.
14.
Mike, you get 4 points. Devin, how many days until you get access through Origin Access Premier?
14 days.
14 days. Very nice. We even have Mixer Chat is answering for us. JD, I'm going to give you a softball on this one. Open demo. How many days till the open demo?
It starts tomorrow, so one day.
All right, there's an easy one for you. So pretty exciting stuff. We'll talk a lot about the VIP demo that we went through. First, we got a couple of get-to-know-you questions, because that's something that we like to do. So get-to-know-you question. We'll start with you, William, because you're the guest. If you were a wrestler, what would your entrance music be? I didn't read this beforehand. We'll let you figure it out, and we'll go to JD.
He's channeling the silent films.
We'll do Valor by Sarah Schatzner. There we go.
Oh, come
There we
on.
go. I don't
Oh,
watch wrestling.
my.
I don't know wrestling. I don't like wrestling. I don't know music, so it works.
You
out
don't
pretty
have a
good.
theme
No,
song?
you
for
know
your life?
what's up, Danger? What's up, Danger from that Spider-Man soundtrack?
That's
I
a
like
pretty
that
good
lot.
one. I dig it.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
JD, do you have a what is it? A coming out music, entrance music? Coming out music is probably for something different.
Coming out.
Entrance music.
That's something different.
Entrance.
Choice of
Uh,
words.
I mean, depending on the word choice, it's either something heavy rock or it's Barbra Streisand. So, but if I were to make a wrestling entrance, I'd have to go with the song that probably gets me the most amped up, and it's done this since I was a kid. It'd be the OG Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme song. That like power metal just gets me pumped up every time, man. Like I could hear that and just like, oh, it makes me want to punch something. It's great.
Okay, fair enough. Devin, you have entrance music.
Yes, I put You Don't Know.
I
That's
don't
the name
know.
of
So
the
what
song.
is it? What's the
Yeah.
music?
That's the name of the song. You don't know.
Who's
No, I
it
don't.
by?
It's a collaborate.
It's a what?
It's a
It's a
collaboration.
collaboration. It's got 50 Cent, Cassius, Eminem, Lloyd Banks. They all got together, and you should look.
Oh.
Very
You're
cool. I
thought
can
like the
dig
name
it.
was going to be something like some Who's on First Business, like You Don't Know, done by I Don't Care.
No,
But
it's yeah. Just look it up.
Very
Dillinger.
cool. We're gonna have to. We're gonna have to look these up.
Just
Mike, do
make
you
sure
have
if you have
a?
sensitive ears to look up the
the safe for work version.
Get these.
Mike, do you have entrance music
I
you,
do.
you
I'm
would
going
come out
old
to?
school. I'm going old school. Chumbawamba.
Chumbawamba, that is old school.
Yep.
That's a
Tub
song I have
thumping.
not even thought about in ages.
In a long time, right? Tub thumping by Chumbawamba. I think maybe they're just funny words that I like, and I like saying funny words. They cheer
Yeah,
me
it's a
up.
funny word. So a couple people
specifically,
from
specifically the part where it says I get knocked down, but I get up again. You know, kind of like psychologically get into my opponent's head. Like they can knock me down, but I'm getting up.
Unless they knock you out and then you can't get.
Devon, you shut up.
So we got a couple answers from chat. So Phaedron says, I believe in a thing called Love by The Darkness, or You're the Voice by John Farnham, or is that Jon Favreau? I didn't know Jon Favreau had like a singing career. I thought he just directed and acted in Marvel
Aren't
movies.
those like love ballads though?
And then those are kind of weird love ballads.
Their intro music, all right?
And then I'm baking Brad says Sauna by Rammstein. So kind of fun stuff. Rusted says Rusted says John Fram is Aussie. So anytime you bring up anyone, like Rusted will tell you if they're Australian or not. He's like the Australian IMDb. So
Nice.
all right,
Nice.
so we do have a guest here. William, hi, how's it going? So one thing that you can do, everyone, this Saturday, we are actually going to be hosting the first edition of the Anthem Premier League. And the Anthem Premier League is a stronghold race that we are going to be hosting at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the 2nd of February during the open demo. William will actually be leading a team. William, are you leading a team, or are you gonna contract that out to other people in your community?
I'm gonna lead a team for sure. I've got on my team right now. I'm still looking for one more. There's a good strategy, and there's a good reason why I don't have my fourth right now. I'm not gonna share that. I'm talking to you, Mulehorn, and Lupo, and Bags, and all you beautiful people. I'm not telling you what I've got up my sleeve, but I've got Grimslinger, who's one of my patrons and a very good buddy of mine. And then Anchor, who is a fellow Twitch streamer who is a BioWare nut and a Thrawn nut, just like I am. So we've already got a good team chemistry already. We're just looking for that fourth, but not saying anything, but they can eat my seal dust.
Did you? What was your best time from the VIP demo? Did you time it when you were in the VIP demo?
No, I did not. But we figured out a pretty good strategy. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat.
Can you tell us what your team composition is going to be made up of, minus that?
Are
you trying to like get Ninja? Are you like talking to Ninja to see if he'll come on and play with you? Is that what the holdout is?
Who's that?
Oh my gosh!
New phone, who this?
Yeah, moving on. So William's going to be running a team. We also have Bags from Anthem Insider will be running a team. Lupo will be will have a team. Then JD will actually be running a team as well. JD, do you have any sweet strats that that you're going to bring to the race this Saturday?
Yeah, by all means, let me know.
Sweet strats. Well, if I did, I'd be keeping them, pretty close to my chest right now. But I do know that
this isn't. There's like no trophy. So if you want to give us some content for the podcast,
no trophy
tell us
right
what
now.
you're thinking
It's
about.
all about
that would be
respect.
fine.
The truth is, I don't have any sweet strats, and I was trying not to reveal that.
Okay, that's kind of what I was getting at.
I think JD's saying he hasn't been the stronghold yet, so he doesn't know.
What my strategy is? My strategy is my team, the people that I trust the most in this world to be on my team. I picked my brother, my brother-in-law, and my best friend, who I consider a brother. So, band of brothers going on right here. It's happening.
All right. I like it. I'll tell you this much. I am going to be rocking a Storm, and I'm going to be a pure primer build. So, Ice Shards and Ice Blast, or I think that's what we're calling it. Ice Blast. I haven't memorized the names yet.
I think it's. Oh, I thought it was the Ice Lance.
Ice Lance, or
I could be
Frost
wrong.
Lance?
Oh no, not that Lance thing. God, I hate that ability.
Okay.
Golly, that's a.
And then Kag and Ryu will also be hosting a team. So we're gonna have 5 teams. So Kags and JD will be going up in the wild card round, and then after the wild card round, the winner of that round will actually move to play against Bags' team. And then Lupo and William will actually be facing off in the first round. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to host.
we are going to be just as surprised as the rest of you when we hear exactly the pairings because we heard none of that. It's I know it went out to everybody else, but for us, we didn't hear it. So
Well, it'll be a surprise for you guys, so that's super
it will
exciting.
be a surprise for us.
Not
It'll
like
be good.
It'll be what for us?
I think
now?
I think the best strategy is to go and shoot the things and win the game.
all the
So if everybody can do that, shoot the things, win the game, collect the stuff.
except for
it'll
the
be
ones that
good.
you can go past.
Basic
Hey,
strategy,
hey,
save the
no, they
cheerleader,
have to
save the
kill.
world.
They have to do 100% damage on everything.
Oh.
Everything has to be
It
dead.
don't matter. They don't.
In
They
order
don't
for it
give
to
you any XP. So
Those are some sweet strategies, Mike, that you got going there.
They are.
All right, one thing that I wanted to talk about, and I'm glad that William is here, and hopefully you guys can hear me. William, you were recently out at an event. Do you want to
Yes.
talk about the event that you were at, what you did, what you heard, what you saw?
Oh yeah, for sure. So I was invited out. Well, the first of the year, I was invited to become an EA game changer, which was monumental. I was eternally grateful for the opportunity, and I went to PAX South a few days prior, where I met the Mulehorn guys. Got to be interviewed by them. Met Thaddeus Prime and a bunch of other really cool guys and people, and man, top-notch individuals. Let me tell you, who I can't wait to cream. No, I'm kidding. These guys are really just above top notch. So I got to head back home, and I rested for maybe 10 hours before I was on my plane to San Francisco. And in San Francisco, we had a capture event where we got to record some awesome stuff. Spoiler alert, the embargo of which is coming off tomorrow. So you guys get to experience that before the VIP
Busy.
demo. Nothing crazy, but I can't say much, but it's not going to be like mind blowing, but it's going to be really, really cool. What else? We recorded a lot of stuff. I got to meet Silicosta. I got to meet Jen. I can't ever pronounce her last name.
Renata?
Shervine? No, Shervine,
Shervaya?
something like
Oh,
that. She's an associate producer. She used to be a QA lead. Got to meet Jesse. Well, Jesse I met at PAX, and then AJ, finally got to meet him. Gamble, that jerk. I'm kidding, but he decided he was there. And then he booked it a couple hours before we all got there. So, that's fine, Mike. That's all right. I didn't want to meet you anyway.
gotta finish a game. Is all he's doing. No.
No.
You
But it
can
was
call him a
great time.
jerk. We call Mike a jerk and all kinds of names on this podcast. He's okay with that, I think.
He's cool
He's
though.
a great guy. They're all cool. I would have, if we're leveling though, John Warner is still up there. I remember you all asked me last time who I wanted to invite out to dinner one night. Would it be Casey Hudson or John Warner? It's John Warner, hands down, the coolest guy in gaming development right now. But we had a great time, recorded some great stuff, and I cannot wait for you all to finally get to see it.
Very cool.
We're excited.
I-
We
I'm
are
ex-
excited for it. We're waiting.
I'm really surprised that they're not, like, the embargo is lifting tomorrow, the day of the open demo. I figured people would
Trust
be
me,
playing the
there's a
game.
reason for it.
Okay, so you guys are just going to be spoiling all the deets then. So
No. So there were specific things we were not allowed to record, and I talked about this on Freelancer Enclaves thing last Sunday. There were certain things, like a certain stronghold, we weren't allowed to record. There was, or even play for that matter. They gave us free roam. Oh my God! The first thing you will notice is how big the map is. Oh my God! It took me forever to fly from point A to point B, from Tarsus all the way to from Tarsus to the end of the map. There's so much cool stuff I wish I could share, but wow, oh my God, you guys are not going to be disappointed in the slightest, especially with after the crit path.
Nice. We're looking forward to it.
I mean, you can spoil some of it. I mean, this episode will probably go live.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
In some parts of the country, it's already tomorrow.
It's already
So
tomorrow. so we
It's
can
already
go.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
over in
Well,
Japan.
okay. So about those Shaper storms. No.
If only.
Well, very cool,
If
guys.
only it were that easy.
I'm excited, William, to hear more about that tomorrow. So did you get to play it all in the VIP demo or no?
So thank God I was on my flight for most of the problem, and then again, thank God I was upset. So I was boarding my flight, and the VIP demo went live. This was my second flight, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's Freelancer! Send me your screenshots, your javelins. I really want to see them," because we got to go deep into the customization while we were at the event. And I got immediate responses. Haha, would love to if would be able to get in. Oh, they must be having server issues or something. My flight was delayed. So I just scrolled through Twitter. Oh. Oh. Oh no. it was bad.
It was a rough start.
Oh my god, the number of direct messages I got and terrible things that were tweeted at me. Jeez, Pete. And videos got mass dislike sprees, and it was bad. But luckily, by the time I got home, I only had to wait like 2.5 hours. This was about 9 o'clock at night before I was finally able to get in, which is fine. I'm not complaining, mainly because I got to play it. But if I was like everyone else and haven't had the opportunity to play it yet, yeah, I'd be foaming at the mouth and furious. But devs were responding to us. They were talking. They were transparent. AJ and Jesse were talking. There was nothing that could have been done better that wasn't already being done and being said. So 10 out of 10 work on BioWare and EA's transparency on the whole issue. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It was an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
issues they never encountered before, right? So, I mean,
right, and no one could have prepared for it. We couldn't have prepared for it. They couldn't have prepared for it. They said everything was fine, and then, of course, when you open up the floodgates to 6 million, 7 million people, I think, the first couple hours, there are going to be issues. I said in my video specifically, I had a friend who was playing it on the big screen. He found my channel, and God, it's so embarrassing hearing your voice in front of your friends, your real life friends. Golly, but
real life friends. What are those?
Steven wants to know what those are.
Not what I meant. People that aren't from my Anthem or content creation background. I've got plenty of you guys. But anyways, I said in the video specifically, by the way, there will be bugs. Get over it. And man, I wish people were able to get over it. I understand why they didn't, but
yeah,
I think it's very interesting.
Happens, right?
It does happen, and it's like these kind of issues happen on every live game since World of Warcraft. So it's not something that we should be super surprised about. I mean, it is something that sucks really bad for people that pre-order the game. They got that VIP access, because this is something that, you know, it's like, okay, we paid for this. We paid to get access to it. And calling it a VIP demo, I think in some people's minds probably changed that. You know, if they called it a beta, would that have made it better? Probably not. The internet's probably still going to be the internet. They're still going to be up in arms and start flaming that they can't get in. And then the people that took off work, I mean, it sucks for people that took off work trying to get into the game and weren't able. Like, I understand that. I get people's frustration. And like you said, there's a lot of people working on this. And I mean, I don't know how they could have handled it differently if maybe they started and did more betas earlier to ramp up to the demos, to the VIP demo, and then to the live demo. So I don't know what the real answer is. I know that it sucked on both. You know, it sucked for people that paid for it that couldn't get in. I was at work for most of the day, so I didn't run into any of the issues. I got home, logged in right away, and was able to play.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to feel that frustration. And it was kind of relief, because I was like, man, should I take the day off or not? And I ended up not doing it, and luckily I didn't. I mean, that would have just been sitting home watching the login screen like we did for the thing I can't talk about anymore or ever again. So, I mean, it sucks. So I don't know what you do. BioWare is going to give out a free vinyl to everyone that participated. It looks like, it almost looks like it was a vinyl prepared for Xbox Live. Just
I don't
because
know.
of the
vinyl
coloring
wasn't
for it.
all that stellar in my opinion. But
you get 2 vinyl.
That wasn't my thing. The vinyls aren't my thing. I've never put. I don't enjoy putting them on the suit. But I'm right there with you. It was a VIP demo that people paid for. Had they called it a beta, it would have been something different. My thing is, I saw a number of people saying, like, you know how Mike Gamble was tweeting out, "We feel so confident about our product. This is this is that," and everyone else was like, "Yeah, you're right. Channel on, go on ahead. Yeah, this is going to be." They have such faith in their product, and then this happens. It was rough. The number of people I saw in the comments section saying they canceled their pre-orders, or it gave Anthem a very rough start, and it didn't need that rough start. It's already got enough of a rough start. And one of my favorite things I saw in addition to that was oh my God, EA can't manage their own damn servers, or EA this or EA that, when it's really a BioWare thing.
Yeah.
That was the funniest part, because the servers were fine. They throttled the capacity and they increased it as they always have. There was never, but maybe, I think they said something like 30 minutes when the game first opened, that there was a server overload. After that, that was all BioWare bug and technical issues and what have you. And it's not like you can say, yeah, guys, by the way, that was a BioWare thing because they don't need any more grief than they already got. But it's remarkable. Like Mulehorn said in the chat here, internet hates EA no matter what. They would have found something anyway. And he's right. They did. Lo and behold, they did.
Well, and I
So
definitely...
Were the fixes that they implemented, were they the right fixes? Was it the right stuff? Because it seemed like near the end, it got more stable. I got loading screened a couple times, but it was my issues. And again, I think because I was in the same boat Steven was in, I didn't play until I got home from work, and I really just walked right in. I got loading screened a couple times. There were a couple times where I had a little bit of lag, and I would jump back and forth.
Rubber banding.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, other than that, it was fine. So were the fixes that were implemented, were they the right fixes?
Do you mean what fixes do you mean? Oh, the fixes that they're putting in this.
That they put in. I mean, it seemed like it got more stable. So it seems like the issues that were found were resolved.
I also, from what I was reading online, I think the majority of the issues were kind of Xbox, PlayStation issues. I know I got the 95% load screen several times, but I mean, it never affected my gameplay to where I was like, man, this really sucks, because I was just able to play. So I can't speak for the experiences of people on Xbox or PlayStation, because I mean that had to probably be pretty frustrating that you couldn't get in at all. So I mean, hopefully they've said that they're working on that 95% issue for tomorrow, that was part of the patch that came out. So, I mean, hopefully this stuff works. I mean, I would rather it happen during the VIP demo than at launch, right?
Then during the launch of the game. Then during the launch of the game, have this. I mean, because that's what these tests are for, really, right? But I understand the point that we paid to get this. We've got some vinyls out of it to compensate us. I almost think that maybe the demo could have gone longer, maybe, to help compensate those people who lost time. Maybe
I tweeted that out.
Yeah, maybe we'll see that. Maybe we'll see that in the open beta that we're gonna have, the open demo that we're gonna have. Yeah. Sorry, I slipped. So maybe that'll happen. Maybe they'll compensate that way. I mean, I'm guessing not, with launch being so close, 14 days on Premiere.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is. I guess maybe I'm just one of those two nice guys that's just like, you know, it is what it is. Whatever. I got to play. I played through the content, ran the stronghold, did the missions, played in the forge, did the things, had a good enough test for me, had fun, and then am looking forward for the rest of it opening up, you know, starting tomorrow. And then definitely AOP on Saturday. And so for me, the test was fine. I really enjoyed being in there. First thing you do, I think mostly, first thing I did is I jumped to the forge, changed colors because I knew everyone else was going to be in the same colors javelin. So I wanted to just differentiate myself to begin with. And it's really funny because I customized mine, and I was able to get on before Steve was. And I customized my javelin, and I started playing with Devon, and Steve jumped in. First he joined us on the chat. All right, guys, I'm coming in. Got a loading screen, just finishing up in the forge. And Steve jumped in, and we had the exact same color scheme. It was actually,
the same color scheme. It was hilarious.
We laughed pretty hard. And so we started running, started shooting the things, started playing with the guns.
Now, what were you shooting in particular? I'm kind of wondering.
So if this question is going to show up, I shot 0 grabbits. There were 0 grabbits under my belt. Not that I am pro grabbit. I am just pro necessity. If I needed to harvest them to stay alive, for my character to stay alive in game, I would have. But since there was no purpose, I stayed away from the grabbits. I shot the things that were shooting at me, really. And it was really cool. I really liked, I'll segue to the characters, or not the characters, but the creatures. Those, the rhino-looking bear things, I forget their names.
The flaps come up the side?
Yeah, that are just hanging out in the water. Like, you can walk up to them, and if you leave your controller too long, the game kind of starts going into like a panoramic, kind of like scenic view kind of thing. yeah, and so I started to pan around and had one of those creatures in the background, and it was doing its thing, and I was there in my javelin, kind of flexing or whatever. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool picture. So I kind of had a moment there, kind of a Marty Stauffer Into the Wild moment.
Had a moment with the animals, did you?
It was awesome. So that creature was really cool, and it didn't attack you and try to kill you like everything else did in the world. But it was fun. The creatures in the game are just amazing looking and freaky looking all at the same time. You're like, oh, look at that scorpion, kill it with fire. But I love playing with the guns. The gunplay was awesome. I love the sound of the guns. That was one of a big selling point for me. I just when you shot and then when it hit its target, just that thump thump thump. It sounded great.
So let me ask you a question,
enjoyable.
Mike. Since you're jumping into guns really quick, what did you guys think about getting critical shots while playing Anthem? Did that feel satisfying at all to you guys? Like hitting crit spots? Do you think it was missing something? Because it felt like to me, like shooting enemies and getting crits on heads and backpacks kind of just missed the impact of, oh yeah, I just got a critical. Other than the number popping up and being yellow, it didn't feel like it had, I don't know, it just felt like it was missing something to me. Like, I don't know if it needs a bigger explosion.
I think for me, because I am a gun guy and I look at ammo and I look at magazine size, and for me, I have this in the back of my head, take this enemy down with the least amount of work possible. And so there is incentive for me to go for crit shots because it's definitely more damage and health bars go down faster. And it is kind of a game for me in my head because I want to time my reloads in between getting to enemies. Like I don't want to reload with an enemy with just a sliver of life left or even half life left because I missed my shots. So for me there is incentive, but and I definitely want to see yellow numbers as opposed to white numbers.
Yeah.
It wasn't like satisfying, like oh yeah, I'm doing this game the way it should be, like that. I don't know if that's what you're describing, but for me it was make sure I can get this enemy down in between mag swaps, and be able to support my teammates who I was with. So that was my feeling.
Yeah, I was unloading. I can remember this specifically. I've done this. I don't know how many times now, but both the VIP demo and during the capture session, I would look a scar straight in the face with the SMG and unload into it, and I would feel nothing. Like it didn't feel like I was hitting a crit point. There would be numbers, but that was it. And it didn't feel like anything significant. It didn't feel like it was rewarding you. Maybe it was rewarding you with a point or two more damage, but it didn't feel like so much a crit point. Like this person, Rusted Blade, said in the chat, felt more like a weak spot shot than a crit feeling. And I didn't feel any real impact or anything insane. Even when I was using the sniper rifles. Now, there's something wrong when you don't feel that with even the Devastator was kind of more like a railgun in my opinion, but I enjoy the Whirlwind a bit more. The Whirlwinds, I pelleted damn brutes. I didn't feel a thing.
So what's the fix there then? What's the fix? Does a crit hit make everybody explode? And then you're like, I got a crit hit.
It would be nice if at the very least, like, it interrupted an animation.
There you go. That would be good, wouldn't it?
I mean, that's just like a basic thing. Like, especially like, I mean, it's a mechanic used in boss fights all the time. Like, deal X amount of damage, knock a boss out of their animation before they can get off that big attack. I mean, it's
the Titans do
other games. Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes done in other games, like, just hit the weak spot a couple of times and they stop doing what they're doing or they have to restart doing what they're doing. So, but it would be nice if like there's just some kind of visual impact, because the only one that had any kind of like visual response to hitting a weak point were those I forget their names, but the big Colossus shield enemies with the flamethrowers. When you hit the tanks, there was an explosion, but didn't really like upset like their animations too much. You just saw the explosion and maybe like a struggle for like half a second. Well, not even half a second. It was barely noticeable.
I know what you mean. I froze one of those things. I think they're called either wraths or brutes or something like that. But I froze that thing and I went behind it and unloaded into it with an LMG. And it popped it, but it didn't feel like it did anything to the enemy. It just felt like, oh, he hit me.
Right. if you're not looking at the yellow numbers, you have some moments where you're firing at these things, and you end up just realizing to yourself, like, am I actually even hitting it? Because it says yellow, but I'm not seeing anything.
Well, I think the thing that's really missing for me personally is there's an audio cue, and I think the two greatest, Can
you repeat that for our benefit, please?
Yeah. So I think it's missing an audio cue. Like two of the best, most satisfying times you can get a crit is like playing Destiny. Or playing. No,
like,
it's okay.
Like one more time. I do apologize. Like it's just coming through on our end. And JD got so mad that he just left.
That's fine. I just have to rearrange every overlay that I have on here.
We apologize.
If you're playing Halo, and if you get a headshot on a grunt and you have grunt birthday party on, it makes the explosion. It makes confetti come out of their head, and it goes yay, and that's like super satisfying because you get that feedback that you got a crit shot. Playing Destiny, you get a headshot on a drag or on a fallen, and their heads explode. And that's super satisfying. Now, I don't know if that's satisfying because you have the first-person view and you're more up close and personal to it. But, I mean, that kind of makes it like, okay, I got a crit. And it makes you want to do it more and more. Like in Anthem
wasn't that
so
also,
far.
Steve, sorry to interrupt, but wasn't that also a perk on a gun?
You could get a perk on a gun that would make things explode more.
It would make it explode on critical hits. I mean,
but anytime you got a crit on their head would explode, or puff into vapor or smoke.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
so then it sounds like maybe the fix would be just something like that, just an exploding head, stopping an animation. Like it's not. I guess what I'm saying is it's not hard to add, right? It wouldn't be hard to add, or would it?
That's not good to go.
Well, I mean, so I guess no. Then that would be a hard thing to add.
No, I mean, Mike, you're right. It's not for us to figure out how to do it. We just know that it doesn't feel great, right?
Right.
So it's on the devs to figure it out, not us.
Yeah. But I think for me though, so I was playing it. It's like, okay, it's obviously not the same. It doesn't have the same reaction as like the games you mentioned. And it's just different. And I just was like, okay, well, that's how Anthem deals with it. And I just moved on because I honestly didn't care. It's like, I know I'm getting a critical hit when the yellow numbers are popping up. And it was definitely different because you have to find where the critical spots are on all the different
enemy types.
So, so you just got to find all the different enemy types. And it really depended on the type of weapon that I was using. And the thing that worked the best for me was really the heavy pistols for the critical shots because those really made a huge difference. But it didn't have the same reaction like you guys are saying, all the time. And I don't know because the world of Anthem is so much more powerful, right? We have to have these javelins to even survive out there. Yet there's a lot of people we have to go rescue who don't have javelins. But that's besides the point.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know if it's if it's made that way because they're supposed to be so much more powerful, and so our weapons aren't going to have the same kind of effect, in the beginning because we have weaker gear, weaker weapons. So I don't know if that's something they fixed near the end game, or I mean, I don't know. I mean, you guys don't like the way it feels, but I didn't really have a.
Well, and with such an emphasis on abilities and making sure that you're doing the combos, you're doing the priming and the detonating. Maybe guns in this instance are a secondary option. They're there in between your melee and ability recharge, and so maybe that's why maybe the guns we should be thinking of them as taking a backseat versus being up front and center.
And I think that's possible because the sound that it makes when you get a combo is one of the coolest sounds in the game. I mean, it sounds like a hammer, like forging a magical weapon every time you get a combo. It's just like a super satisfying sound that you get that gives you that feedback that, okay, I did what I was supposed to. I got that audio cue, and now I know I can continue on, and that's what I'm looking for. So maybe something as simple as that. But like Devon said, it might not be the same for everyone. So. Sorry, William, I didn't mean to cut you
I,
off.
I really, I really
You're
can't tell
breaking
if you're
up so
done
much,
talking.
I
I
can't
really
tell.
can't tell if you're done talking or not.
I can't
We're,
tell.
we're maybe getting like 50%.
We
of
know
what
it's
you say.
we know it's
Maybe.
not an issue for everybody else, but it is an issue.
Yeah,
for us.
50%.
Just know
if
that it
that.
was
That it
was
was
super
good.
impressive what I said. So
That
what,
it
so what
was,
I'm
right?
so what I'm
That
gonna
it was
do,
good.
I'm
That
gonna
it was
pause this
what?
real quick. So I'm gonna pause this real quick. All right. About the Anthem store leak.
Good stuff.
So
Yeah.
Devon, store leak, go.
So the store leak, somebody decided to snap a picture of something they weren't supposed to, and then put it on the internet.
Because
As
that never
people,
happened.
tend to do, and they're like, "Oh, I can get some clicks off of this, and cause issues and uproar." And of course, that's what happened. People are freaking out with nothing that's final. Even when BioWare responded and gave the information, said this is not correct, this is not final. That's why we don't show these kind of things when it's not done, because people freak out and they're like, "Oh, this is how much everything's going to cost in real world money," and making assumptions, and you know what making assumptions does. So,
The other part, yeah.
go ahead.
Well, the other part to that is that was actually taken from one of the capture events. So it was a content creator who did end up leaking that. We don't know who, but whoever it is, there are a lot of bad words I could say about whoever leaked that. We were told, okay, so to set the scene, at the event, everyone was open and transparent with us. Yeah, there were bugs we experienced every here and there, but they were transparent. That was fixed. Oh, that's something we didn't know. I'll report that. Hey, by the way, guys, we're going to show you the shop, but please do not photograph it, do not record it, don't do anything with it, because we can't stress this enough. These are only placeholder numbers. These aren't even values. They hold no value at all. These are placeholders. Literally everything from exotic, not from exotic, from legendary all the way down to uncommon have the same values, at least for certain, armor pieces or what have you. And they said, don't put any stock into it, don't share it. We're going to share this plenty. Just hang tight. Whoever this person is decided to leak this out, and golly, it just really grinds my gears. It ticks me off that they put this much trust into us, not to record it, not to show it off.
And there it is, front and center for everyone to see, and everybody's losing their mind over it because they're thinking this thing costs however much it's going to cost. That's frustrating. I can imagine what they're probably thinking about at the studio, and really ultimately it's just going to end up hurting your entire group as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it does. I mean, one apple spoils a bunch, and so this is frustrating. That being said, there's going to be some cool stuff in the store. Some sweet ways to trick your javelin, to make it super nice, and I'm excited to see all the cool stuff that's going to be there. You could spend so much time in the forge and not even play the game, so that can be frustrating. Not frustrating, but spending all that time in the forge, maybe.
It's just really crazy how many people still don't understand, their microtransactions, and every day there's still people who are like, they're gonna have microtransactions in Anthem, or loot boxes, and it's like, no, the microtransaction is you see what you buy, yes, they're there, but you see exactly what you're gonna get, and you can earn, coin or whatever they're gonna use to buy that same thing in game. And some of the stuff you can't even buy with real world money, they didn't tell us what it will be, but I'm guessing, it's higher level stronghold gear or whatever, beating it on Grandmaster 3. Difficult stuff that they want to reward people for, that they don't just want people to be able to buy it and be like, oh, I got this stuff. And, it's a constant uphill battle because people can't be bothered to do any research or read anything.
Oh my God, the Young Yeah video alone. Good Lord.
Right.
I mean, it's like it was. So he did that video on the VIP demo, right? And I don't mean to take it too far off topic for a second. Usually, like I do kind of like when he just like reports the facts.
And it was
But
good. I watched the video too.
Yeah, the video, like it was a pretty fair video. But the whole thing's that, like, I think the next day he puts out a video about how transparent and how great it is that the developers being transparent about like
And then
time and then stuff like that. And then we're talking about like the fact that like he's talking about it and he's talking about Anthem, and like he just completely neglects the fact that this has been one of the most transparent marketing campaigns that I've seen from basically any developer in terms of the overall communication with everything. Even the response to the demo, to the VIP demo, like we had an update almost every day. We had tweets going out the entire time. The dev team was working their butts off for it. And even the screenshot that was leaked of the market, we got a response to that, and that response, what like did he include that in that video? I don't remember if he did or not.
He did not, because the response actually wasn't made until I think it was today. The official response by Casey Hudson about it, which you guys know my background, business and communications, and I did all that.
Wasn't there also the post from Bio Camden?
On Reddit?
Yeah, but not many check Reddit like people, not many check on Twitter. And they've depend on us to let them know. But fair enough, I don't go into the dark spaces of Reddit. So the first I ever heard of an official response was today from Casey. But I forget where I was going with this. Damn it.
I think you're talking about your legal background.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, business and communications, typically what you do is after this happens, you immediately address it. You don't let anyone quickly cause any issue or whatever. And I realize they've said it 100 times before that they are still balancing, and they're going to be balancing up until day one or until launch and everything else. And I think I had this conversation with you, JD, over Twitter about it. But they should have said something or given more factual numbers. Like, look, what you saw was a legendary or whatever exotic, I don't care, piece of armor that was set at this, and these people are saying it costs this much. Let's level. They do know how much, say, $5 worth of real world currency is going to get you for shards. They know that. There's no getting around that. I think they could share that, and that would have been helpful. But also, I think they could have said, look, at most, this will probably cost you $5 and $10 or whatever, and just go on ahead and get it out, because if it costs more, I've already told my audience, I've already gotten the you're an EA shill or whatever. However many times, I can't tell you. In the last week alone, I've gotten that I will never criticize Anthem or be I'll forever be a paid EA shill or shrew or whatever you want to call it. No, if I end up having to pay $20 for that piece of armor, and I actually got to play in that piece of armor, I'm going to be furious. I'm going to be absolutely upset, and I'm not going to go out with pitchforks and demand someone's head, but I am going to say plainly and clearly, I'm not a fan of this, and I'm not real proud of it, and EA, this is what you should do. And there's a whole economic principle that if that piece of armor was $5, more people would be more willing to buy 5 sets for $25 as opposed to one, or possibly not buying one at all. And it's a long list of things that they could have done. They're doing their best. I hear it. I get it. But well, I mean, we should have gotten something.
It's like we discussed like very briefly on Twitter. It was just like an exchange of a couple of tweets, but again, this has been one of the most transparent marketing campaigns from a game developer. And it's, at least from my point of view, and I say this as somebody who loves BioWare, the fact that they've been transparent about everything except for this, like, if I've noticed that, and I've had the thought, I can guarantee people that are much more eager to, jump on the hate bandwagon have noticed it too. And the thing is that they could get out ahead of this. Like, we have like 2-3 weeks of launch. This is something that a lot of people have been wary of since Star Wars Battlefront 2 is, the amount of how much you're going to have to grind to get it. Like, it needs to be a reasonable amount of grinding. It can't be exorbitant. And for some people, this is a huge bit of information that will influence their purchasing decision. Yeah. And the fact that they are choosing to keep this pretty close to chest, we'll play this close to their chest, and it looks like they might not even tell us until release date. Even I have to say that looks duplicitous to me.
Well, I don't think there's a good way. I'm gonna talk to chat, not to you guys, because you're not gonna be able to hear me anyway. So just give me a second here to roll with this. So I don't think there is a good way to get out ahead of. I mean, the current market or the current landscape for reporting on games is YouTube. And there's, how many thousands of people that are making videos on Anthem that have popped up recently. I mean, there's thousands. You can go anywhere, you can find someone making an Anthem video, and they're not doing the research. They don't care. I mean, their Dr. Disrespect went on, a short little rant about Anthem. He said the game's going to be bad. It looks cookie cutter. He says, I haven't played it yet, but I know it's going to be bad. So you get people like that have that big of a following, that their followers aren't going to go out and look for that information because that is their source of information. So people like this, like, how do you combat that against those people? You can't. They're not going to go listen to a video from BioWare explaining what their microtransactions are. They're just not going to do that. They're not. I mean, it's so hard to get out in front of everything. So you can either make, a video to say, hey, this is this, and it gets posted to Reddit, and what percentage of people are actually going to be able to see that? I don't know what that percentage is. I don't know what that outreach is. Well, I mean, currently their videos aren't doing, super good on YouTube. Their more recent ones are, but nothing like the YouTubers that are actually out there covering the game. So I don't know what the best way to do that is, unless you just open the store and you show people and you say, here it is. This is the store.
Yeah. Well, but then, I mean, they're going to have one more stream, before the game comes out, right? So they have. Yeah. They have another opportunity where they have a stream where they can be like, all right, look, we're going to talk about these things. We're going to tell you what to expect, and we're going to clear the air. And you're right. I mean, there's really no perfect timing to share information because obviously they share information and people still, like you said, they can't be bothered to look it up or try and find it. And again, they go to whoever they're going to, whoever they watch. And if that person doesn't care, that person doesn't put out correct information, and that's what they're going to follow. They have misinformation based on YouTube videos and everything else. And it is really hard, like you said, to combat that. But I think for me, for the store, I mean, the Legion of Dawn kind of sets a precedence, right? So you get the 4 armor sets, for the $20 extra.
Right.
So for me, like in my mind, it's like, okay, I understand this is like a special deal. But again, $5 for a full armor set, that's super reasonable.
Yeah. That seems fair to me.
I understand if it goes, even up to $10 for
the primo legendary god roll amazingness.
Yeah, but I mean, none of their microtransactions are pay for power, right? So that's the tricky thing, and it's all cosmetics, and it's how much are you willing to pay. I mean, Fortnite, people are dropping $20 left and right for a skin all the time. So.
But it's also a free-to-play game, and that's what people will tell you.
Their favorite.
Yeah, it's free to play, but it's not if you want to buy anything and you want to be able to get into the seasons. You have to invest at least one time to be able to get any amount of good content. So it's like I've played with my friends, and they're like, well, you have to buy at least one time, and then if you save up all the stuff that you make, then you can get into the next season. It's like, well, how do you get any skins or anything else? Because they don't give you hardly any content. When you're just doing the free-to-play version, which I understand it's free-to-play, but, for $60, you're getting so much content, in a game like Anthem, and people all the time complain about, how much content, but it's like, if I go to the movies with 2 kids, it's $40, and that's like a 2-hour experience versus, even if we only put 50 hours into Anthem, I'm getting a way better value.
I'll put 50 hours in the first day.
Yeah,
that's a lot of hours.
Yeah. Time and hours, days are.
I'll be playing on PC and Xbox. Thanks.
At the same time,
I'll be running back and forth.
So
I'm just gonna pair my controller to both. That way, I can control it on both screens. Wow.
All right,
I just blew my own mind.
I think
you were saying something, William.
Wait, who's saying what?
I thought you were in the middle of saying something.
No, I was about to. The last thing I can say on it is it's ironic that people are having such an issue with the microtransactions. Yeah, skip all the clickbaity stuff and what have you. At least we're not paying for power. People preach on Warframe and Fortnite doing it right, and I don't know what other game does microtransactions right. But the favorite one they compare it to is Warframe. And how it's impossible to get premium currency, or not impossible. I've played it for 6 years, but it's hard to get the premium currency. And then even then, you can pay for power, and you can. The only way to get these exclusive accessories is to pay for them with the premium currency, which means you have to spend some money or save up a butt ton of premium currency, which is impossible to do. So it's kind of hypocritical that they say that EA can't do this, but what are they called? DE can do this. We're at any other company other than EA, I don't think we'd be having this discussion right now.
No, probably not.
It
And I
comes
think
back to
we've
that
beaten
irrational-
this. I think
Yeah,
we've
you're
beaten
right.
this discussion into the
we've
ground.
beaten
So we're
this,
going to move on. So
Ursix into the ground.
So
I beat a lot of Ursixes on my own.
So speaking of not being BioWare fanboys, we're going to talk about things that we didn't like in the demo and things that they can improve
Things
on.
we did not like in the demo.
Okay,
Thanks,
there we go,
Devon.
there
I
we go.
appreciate that.
Now let's
So,
go.
He's saying.
What?
so flight ceiling, I think it's way too low. I think they need to change it. It's got to be way higher than it is.
The
Should
rip
at
stream's
least be
back.
able to get above the land.
The craziest thing, right, that I saw for the rip stream was in the stronghold. When you're inside of, you know, how do you have a rip stream when you're inside of a cave and there's a ceiling above you? That I think
It's a
was
drafty
not,
cave.
you know,
Ah,
no.
ah, ah.
that when it slams you into the ground with such force, it's like, look, just put a kill box or just put something that cuts out your, you know, your jetpack or whatever. But that rip stream inside of a cave doesn't make sense even in the Star Wars universe, and it's just, I mean, they need to implement that correctly and a little bit better.
Agreed. And then walking speed in the fort, that's going to be addressed. So I'm
Yep.
glad that they've already heard everyone's feedback. And I guess it was just taken out for the demo for some reason. I don't know exactly
Probably
why
bugs.
they would take that. It's probably just a bug. So walking speed, and then I want to hear you guys' opinions on this. The loading screens into different areas. I think they were weirdly placed, and like you never felt like you were going to go into a loading screen until you were in a loading screen. I mean, you were almost like,
Yes.
did this just freeze? What's happening? And then you're in a
Yeah.
cave. So what could they do to fix the loading screen issue? Is it just as simple as put a door there or make you hold A to open a door and then it loads you in?
Oh, they have plenty
I
of
think-
doors, plenty of tombs, plenty of everything. I think that's the way to go about it, period. End of story.
If you want to make it even a little bit more clear, you could always do like a little title telling you like what the area you're about to enter is called. That's a pretty universal, like you're about to load into a different area. Like that's pretty universal, like game design right there.
Well, we still had area locations show up in the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
So those showed up when you went to a different area. Steve, you're speaking about like on the map, you see this long wall of cliff and there's a little tunnel in the middle, and you fly through and it stops you, loads you into a loading screen,
Yep.
and then you continue on flying. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't think I ran into too many of those. I got most of my loading screens when I went underground. When I went from surface level to underground, I don't think it was between surface level area. I don't remember. I'll have to check my.
Yeah, and it's
I'll have
not
to check my stuff.
and it's not between the surface levels. It's between the, going into the caves, going into the mandibles was one of the areas. Going into, especially when you did the mission, you went back and forth to that one area multiple times, and you had to load in right there.
Go in for like a minute, and then go back out and load again.
Do we know was that because of the demo, or was that in game?
No, I think that's in game.
In game, that's going to be interesting because they're loading a new environment and stuff. That definitely takes you out. And didn't it happen when we were playing? Like I would hit the loading screen, and then Devon would still be in the world, but then Devon would hit the loading screen, which means it would put us in our new area at different times. Yeah,
because they would transmission you to your team because when you're playing on story missions or any kind of missions like that, they have, a limited amount of space or time, that you can be far apart.
Right.
So they're going to drag you into that, whereas in free play you have, the tethering isn't as bad.
Right.
In free play where you can just go wherever. But when they go into mission area, you get sucked in. And that happens, but
I think it happened when you were looking for a chest.
Yeah, like I was just about to grab something, and then I'm like, no, let me get to it.
And
it's like,
that's why we did it, obviously, so you wouldn't be able to get the guest. But yeah, that definitely needs to be addressed. It doesn't feel fluid. It doesn't feel natural. But
I mean, yeah, it's definitely difficult for him because you're just like, okay, we're gonna go into this cave, and it's like as soon as you get to a spot, put you into a new area. Obviously, they do that so they don't have to load all the geometry all the time,
right?
And all the areas, because when you're going into that area, it's a whole separate area. It has nothing to do with the whole wide open world that they have in Anthem, and they only have limited resources, and really, I mean, it's tough. I mean, as I was playing the game, I was like, I played over 20 hours last weekend, and when I played on Xbox, I was like, I was playing on Xbox One X, and I was like, this is not good. I know Xbox had the hardest times, but just going from PC to console, I just can't do this. It's just so much better.
This wasn't working.
Yeah. And I think Anthem is a great game. It looks awesome. It's amazing, and I just don't. I mean, I felt bad for my friends who were playing on Xbox and anybody who's playing on console, honestly, because
what up, Devon?
Well, I don't know if we want to get into
everything out of Anthem because it's not going to run as smooth. And I mean, I know you talked about like running in the fort, right? So, example, when I was playing on Xbox, going in the fort, if I was clipping corners to go faster, the stuff wasn't loading, and that to me was why they made you walk, and they have a specific speed because they're loading in the assets in the game. And so when they're opening up a door, they want the stuff to be already loaded. Whereas, on PC, that was never an issue for me, but it was on Xbox. If I got there too fast and it opened up the door, stuff would still like be popping in and loading in all over the.
I ran into that issue a bit on PC too. As I was flying, I could see landscape in the background loading in. So, I mean, Xbox isn't taking all the hits. PC had a few hits. I guess I was just flying too fast because my javelin's better than everybody else's. But
easy now, Ranger. Easy.
But I can understand. But I can understand. I didn't run into any more bugs other than the bugs I was supposed to run into.
Yeah. But I mean, more than just bugs, though. I mean, we're talking like these are kind of issues that technical issues, like swimming. Swimming is awful.
Swimming is tough.
I think it sucks. I think it's easily the worst part of the experience so far. Like
I didn't have too much trouble.
Like flying into bodies of water and then just diving and then going straight up felt fine. But if you actually have to stop and navigate and try to find a tunnel, it's not a good experience. With the storm, you have a shield on. It makes it harder to see while you're underwater. And the flashlight doesn't help at all underwater, so it's not like
it doesn't illuminate very far.
So I'm going to share a story with this. This is when Steven and Devon and I can't remember who was with us. Was it that Clint. First time? Was it Clint that was with us? That first time we did it. So Clint was with us. We dropped into the stronghold, and apparently I get motion sick. I didn't know I did until I was having to swim.
Oh, the first time you guys went was with Phaedron, and it wasn't me because I went.
You did go to bed. You were being a sissy lala.
Anyway.
But that's beside the point. So we jumped in the water, and either I got turned around, I got a little motion sick, or a combination of both. But man, that swimming part was the hardest part for me. I actually because while you're swimming, you either have going as fast as you can or not moving at all. There's no kind of like in between to try to navigate yourself through stuff and around rocks and stuff. And so I sped headfirst into a cliff, and was stuck there for forever. And so my camera started wigging out because I was trying to turn around and I couldn't tell which way was up or which way was down. And I actually got sick. So that was, I had a rough experience with swimming. I don't know.
Easily my least favorite part of Anthem is swimming. The flight controls, trust me, they've been fixed. What I played during the VIP demo, or not the VIP demo, during the capture event is nothing like the VIP demo. I think they're giving us the updates that we had during the capture session to the demo because they were atrocious. There is no getting around that. I mean, they weren't as bad as the alpha, but they were still rough.
NDA for life.
Well, no. Mulehorn and his crew can attest. Jesse has allowed that to go out of the NDA.
Does Jesse write the EA NDAs? Or
Well, no, I can blame it on him though, and he he can take the brunt of that.
And he's
But no,
legally liable.
yeah, he's like,
It weren't me that said it.
look, I'm the lawyer. I know my shit. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Anyway, no, wow, I just swore. I'm sorry. I'm tired. It's really late. I'm really tired. Anyway,
It's really late here.
what I was saying though was the water, even during the real play session, it was not swim. It's not something that they have fixed. It's not something that'll be ready for launch. It's water's
what
gonna
it
be
is,
rough
right?
for a while.
It is what it is, and we're gonna have to get used to it. We'll just have to stay out of the water.
Well, and that's
as
hard
much
because
as we
water.
can.
there's a lot of stuff where you will be going underwater.
Yeah.
Not
I think at the
Just
very
take your
least they
pill
could
before.
benefit a ton from just making the underwater sections brighter, at least, because I know that when I did the first, like, not even the first, like, 2 times I did the stronghold, when I did the stronghold, I had like no problem like getting through it. And then there was one time where everybody in my group, like, it was just particularly dark for whatever reason underwater, and we just got lost in the caves underwater. Like, we were in there for probably about 5-10 minutes, right? Did you guys know that there's like ruins, like, in like a little side cave in there too?
Yep.
We found them.
There's 3 caves down there.
I got
Did you find
lost
the
for a
3rd cave?
very long time during the stronghold. The first time I played it during the capture session, we were like, "Where am I supposed to be going?" We were just chilling out underwater for 10 minutes, and then realized,
I felt so stupid.
lights are right there. I wonder where they lead.
Nice.
Oh crap!
Nice.
That's where we're supposed to go. Okay, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And it is very possible that in the beginning of the game, the following the lights is telegraphed somehow in an earlier mission, and we're just getting dropped into the stronghold. So it's kind of like, okay, we don't know this information yet, and maybe that's why we weren't able to pick up on that cue as fast as we should have, just because we hadn't been trained yet that, hey, there's glowing beacons in the water. This is what you need to follow to get where you need to be. Because even if you turn up the brightness setting, you know, on the settings on your
Because that's what you
computer,
had to do, right, Steve? You
No,
turned up
'cause
the brightness.
it doesn't work. It just kind of
Oh.
muddies what you're seeing. It doesn't make it any easier to see, unfortunately. So, I mean,
Any
those
or
are
chat.
things I hope that they'll get a lot of feedback on. I mean, there was
Yeah,
a
but-
survey that went out that I hope everyone filled out, and they said that the swimming was not a good experience, and they need to change it, especially if they're going to be hiding a lot of cool stuff in the water. So, as far as fixes go, Chad, the head of live service, I'm going to go ahead and read the post that Chad put out for everyone about the fixes that they came up with.
Yes. Head of the live service.
Yeah. So he says, "Hello, Anthem community. Thanks for being here. We're hard at work to be ready for our public demo weekend. That's tomorrow, starting the 1st of February. This week has been focused on improving the player experience in the demo. That focus was based on our learnings and your feedback. For those of you that played last weekend, you should see significant improvements in multiple areas over the last week. While we are confident that these changes will improve the weekend's experience for players, we are also cognizant that we may see reoccurring and new issues. Our team will again be working around the clock to deal with any problems that arise so that all players can enjoy the game. As always, you can use Answer HQ. For people that do that, can never get that website to work. Our ongoing scale testing this week has gone well. We're confident we are ready for the load we will see. Last weekend, we will be prepared with more server capacity than we anticipated. Will be needed. However, predicting player numbers, particularly for a new game like Anthem, is the first open public weekend is very difficult. If more players decide to try the game than we anticipate, we'll also have systems in place to control entry rates for oncoming players. This is to ensure players in the game are having uninterrupted fun and to give us time to increase capacity. If you encounter these situations, we'll hope you'll be patient with us and try again later. So a couple of the other things that they mentioned that they fixed, there's further improvement, performance improvements, additional stability fixes, fixes to inscriptions showing up incorrectly, fixes to inscriptions from other javelins being chosen, fixes to disappearing customization settings, fixes to XP gain behavior, audio improvements, improvements to PC controls, and a social hub, the launch bay, and a few thousand more. So one additional comment based on what we've asked on Twitter is if you are a returning VIP demo player, you're going to have all that progress carry over. So that's going to be fantastic, I guess, for the people that are carrying over. I mean, it doesn't take that long to get back up to level 15, but I mean, you'll be able to spend more time in that stronghold, I guess, and hopefully in free play. So let's see. And then they mentioned that there's been over 2 million Grabbits murdered. So that's a stat that they were tracking. I don't know how many of those Grabbits you guys ended up killing, if any at all. Devon, how many Grabbits did you kill during
I think
the
he asked
open
us
demo?
if we shot Grabbits.
Hell no, I didn't shoot any Grabbits. I'm the king of the dang things.
I'm the king of the Grabbits.
Oh my
King
god.
of the Grabbits.
Anthem Insider. Someone in the damn comments section of the stream said, "Oh, so Willie, were you the king of the Grabbits?" No, I'm not the king of the Grabbits. Bags. Yeah, he's the king of the Grabbits. The entire chat, 100 people. He's the king of the Grabbits.
Apparently, you're the king of the Grabbits. I shot 0 Grabbits. I don't know why people did. I think it's because they were there. Come on, people. Don't shoot the Grabbits. I don't think there's a point.
I mean, they're there for a reason. I mean, they're not there just. I mean, maybe they are there just.
Who is it?
but-
Did somebody said in one of the playthroughs when they shot a Grabbit, they got a drop from the Grabbit?
I don't believe that.
Yeah, shenanigans.
I think
I've gotten drops from the other creatures, right? So.
Well, yeah, but probably not Grabbits.
the
I'm gonna
Grabbits
sure
look
try
like
and find
nightmare
out.
people. Apparently, the inside of the mouth of a Grabbit is even more nightmare fuel than the outside of a Grabbit is, according to Ash. So
It's got teeth all down
These-
its throat.
like, why?
Well,
Look,
because
Because Anthem. Because
everybody's welcome to come to my restaurant in Fort Tarsis, where I'll be serving nothing but Grabbit and goes.
it is what it is.
I will
It is what
set
it
it,
is.
get it in a wrap, get it in a bun, just grab it and go. Done. All right.
So
Powered by nightmare fuel.
So one thing we do know that in order to kill Grabbits, you have to have a weapon. So Devon, will you give us your impressions of the weapons that we had in Anthem?
My
Yeah.
impression?
Yep, your impressions of
like-
the overall weapons. I mean, was there
The
one that
overall
you were?
weapons, my favorite weapon was the heavy pistol, but I spent most of my time with the interceptor, and so I did like. There's lots of sniper rifles, shotguns. Everything was really good. I don't think there was a single weapon that I used that I didn't like, but my favorite was the heavy pistol, just because of how much damage they would do, and especially when you're getting those crit shots. They would. I mean, it tears through the shields really quick on enemies. That those frost brutes, when you're running into those on the missions, people were just dying left and right. You know, Mike was having those errors all the time where he's kneeling down.
I had this weird bug that like I would go and I would just like it would just put me into a repair screen. It was odd.
It's
I
not
was
bad.
confused. Yeah, it was a bug.
It's real life. No, but it was really good, and they would tear through those. You know, I found that worked the best for me in my play style. But yeah, I definitely want to play with more. There's a lot of different options that I was getting, but I found myself, okay, I want to stay at the top level of, you know, whatever you can get to. It was like 134 in the VIP demo, and so I would just be like, oh, I got a new weapon. I haven't had this one before, but it's lower level, so I don't want to use it. So,
Right.
so I don't know.
And that kind of limits too. We were able to craft a certain number of things, and I think the stuff I got to craft was different from what you got to craft. Didn't you get to craft some weapons?
Yeah, I crafted weapons. I couldn't craft
But
any
at that
rare
power level
but
19.
no. So the most I could do was like 17.
Oh, good. I had an auto rifle blueprint for power level 19, so I was able to kit all my remaining javelins out to 134 because I had that blueprint and I had enough materials massed, which is going to be a fun part of the game too. If you can get those blueprints, gather those materials. I thought maybe materials would be hard to get, but even in those 20 hours that we played, I had an excess of 100 on anything, you know, and I think I crafted 6 guns, and I still had, it was the blue embers, I think is what they're called. I still had 125 of those. So So that's not something you're going to run out of anytime soon, which is good. And I'm assuming, well, I guess with the rares, it's always going to be that, I think that 5 embers that it costs, and then when you get up to the purple, they're going to have their own set of embers. The crafting is fun. The components thing is a lot of fun. I think that's a whole nother metric that we're going to have to do, because with the guns, balancing those and then balancing your components and your support system to make all that stuff work together, because if you're not careful, you really could have a system that works against you. You know, you could have all these bonuses to shotguns and auto rifles, and you could be carrying around a sniper rifle and a heavy pistol, and you're not going to get the numbers that you could be getting if you were just to go in and look and check. I kind of was bugged, and this might be another technical thing. I would like to see in the pause menus my loadout, because I forgot so many times what if I had the muster point on or the bulwark point. And I know it gives you the icon down at the bottom of the screen, but I hadn't familiarized myself with that stuff yet, or the components, because there's nothing that shows what components you have. So I would like to see what my kit is if I go into a pause menu, because I forgot what my abilities were. So
It'll become more crucial in the end game when you've got those intrinsic perks with
Yeah.
those legendaries and
Yeah.
what inscriptions you have. God, that I can't stress how important that is, and I can't tell you how many times when I made my builds that I during the capture event that I completely forgotten what I was doing, and I would see like the raptor thing or whatever there was from the prior stream.
Mhm.
I wouldn't remember what that is. I would see these things like fly on my screen. Hey, you got this, this, and this. Cool. What were they again?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And do they all mesh? Do they all match? Do I have the right stuff on? I mean, so that was something that we found out in the stronghold as we were running our strongholds, that we just forgot what we had. I think our entire group was like, what exactly do we have? I'm not exactly sure. We were still playing with builds. So I would like to see that in final game. Hopefully it makes there sometime. I think the common tagline is not at launch, but it sounds like something
I
that
totally
should
agree
be
with you there.
I do think though the vault space is going to be an issue, right? With
right.
four different
250?
javelins.
Yeah.
It was 300.
No, it's 300 now. Oh, okay.
Was it 300 or was
In
it just
the
250?
in the open or in the VIP demo,
VIP?
it was 300.
Yeah, it was 300.
Yeah, it was
on there.
200.
So,
Yeah.
but it's
But I
like
still don't think that's enough.
no, like I had it almost to 200 just from the demo, and it's like I guess they just expect us to delete all the stuff. But
The way they look at it is this: if you get this rifle, screw it, you get a exotic rifle as opposed or legendary rifle as opposed to exotic. They expect you to melt that down because obviously the legendary is going to be infinitely better. As far as the weapons go, they expect you just to have like 1 or 2 of each weapon variant, and even then, that's what 48 guns total. I think they're 24 and different weapons, not including the heavy weapons too, I suppose. There are 24 total types, like the whirlwind as opposed to what was the other one? Devastator?
The Devastator.
Yeah.
So there's 2 types of sniper.
There's
Is that what you're
2
saying?
for everything, like 2 types of pistol, 2 type of this, 2 type of that, 2 type of that, 2 type of that. So there are 24 in total. I think that's what the official number was. They expect you to have maybe 2 of them of the same rarity. And if you ever have a rarity higher than that, they expect you to delete it and keep on moving. And the same way goes with your abilities too.
Right.
In theory, it all works if you manage to conserve your space. Not all of us are going to be playing all 4 javelins. I know I'm sure as heck not going to be playing the Colossus much. I didn't enjoy that javelin whatsoever, which was really surprising to me. And sorry if I'm hurting any Colossus fans out there. It's nothing against the Colossus.
Hey.
I think there's like 2 of them, so you're only hurting 2 people's feelings. So
Hey, what up?
No. I couldn't get my hand around. I couldn't get my brain around the Colossus, which was surprising because that was my number 2 javelin.
Right.
That I was going to play, which is something really cool. I found as I played all 4. Each one is so distinct from each other, and I suppose I'm transitioning us. Sorry, but I want to talk about that so badly before I forget. Each one feels so totally different. I thought, well, yeah, the Storm can hover, Interceptor's quick, and the Colossus tanky. Okay, cool. going into playing for the first time. No, totally different. It's like playing different classes. It felt so good, except for the Colossus, and I couldn't get my hands around it. I wanted it to be more tanky than it actually was, and to me, it just felt like a heavy ordnance launcher without any dodging. And I
Well,
can't.
I mean, we had this conversation where we felt, like early on, the Colossus is squishy. It's real. It dies quick, and like when I played it on Xbox, it was horrible. And when I played it on PC, because I had a lot more parts for it, because I was saving them in my vault, and I was able to instantly just level it up to 132 or 133, and it was played a whole lot better. But I think the whole thing of only having one or two doesn't fit the narrative of being able to create different. Right? So
Yeah.
how can I have with random rolls or for your inscriptions? How can you have multiple builds if I only have two weapons? And they have different inscriptions that don't focus on those builds. So if I need to, if I want 4 different builds, it's like I'm going into one stronghold. Okay, I have a build strictly for that stronghold for their enemy types and everything else. But I go to another stronghold and I have a different build. And if I have, if I'm playing with certain friends, I have maybe a team focus build, or I have, DPS build. So all those things require different gear pieces, different weapons, and having only 2 does not fit the narrative of being able to build multiple builds for however you want to play.
I just did the math real quick.
Nice.
If you had 2 of everything, you'd still only have 144 items. That's if you had 2 of everything.
Well, that's just weapons, right? So add components to that.
No. I did abilities and weapons, not components.
Right, because you've got 6 components that you have to deal with, and how many variations of those can you have per javelin?
It's a good point. Wait until we actually play it to actually say, it's not enough space or whatever.
That number gets to 300 really fast.
I agree, and we'll see how fast or how relevant that really
and how relevant it becomes, right? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. In regard to the weapons, I would have to say my biggest complaint about the weapons, like I love the autocannon, I love the grenade launcher. I no real complaints there aside from maybe the reload thing being a little bit too long. But my big complaint, and I don't know if any of you guys feel like this, but it really bothers me that that both assault rifles and marksman rifles can be burst rounds. And because I remember just maybe it's just years of being what's the word, accustomed to certain naming conventions of gaming and shooters. I usually expect that the assault rifle is going to be like the either fast
assault rifle.
Yeah, it's usually fully automatic. Maybe the speed of maybe the rate of fire might differ from type to type, and that the marksman rifle is either going to be like a 3-round burst or a single shot. But that's generally been the naming convention across gaming. And I remember I grabbed the first time I got a storm. I grabbed an assault rifle and a marksman rifle because I figured, okay, single shot and full auto, that's some pretty good flexibility there, especially mid-range, long range. And I grabbed that, and then I was like, wait a minute, am I using the same gun? And it turns out my marksman rifle was a 3-round burst, my assault rifle was a 4-round burst, and it just that really just rubbed me the wrong way, because it just kind of it's like if you were to move the shooting button to the X button as opposed to right trigger. It's just something it didn't have to go against the grain of naming conventions or typical video game rules, I guess, or I don't know what the better word to use for that is. Maybe somebody can help me out here.
I don't know so much about that, but I also don't feel like the weapons seemed flashy enough for what they were. Like you said, JD, you might not have even known what weapon you were using at the time, because there's nothing that's really telling you or identifying, what you're using. Like I had a pistol that was a single shot, then I had a pistol that was fully auto. You don't ever really see them. Like if you're playing a first-person shooter, you really have a personal connection to the weapons you're using, just because they're there up front and center. But I use Savage, the rare light machine gun, a bunch, just because that one felt the best to me, and it had a good rate of fire and did good damage. but I couldn't tell you the difference between any of the sniper rifles. I don't think I even picked up a shotgun. If I did, I never equipped one. So I just didn't have any connection with any of the weapons that I picked up during the game, and I hope that changes. But I don't think it's going to, because the weapon system, the way it is, you can get a rare Savage, but then the next Savage you get might be legendary or it might be epic, and that thing's just going to keep moving with you. So I guess I just haven't felt any connection with any of the weapons, and it doesn't really make me like excited to get new weapons other than just watching my number go up. So I mean, and that's me. I don't know how you guys felt about that system of just, well, this is the Savage now, and then you're going to get a different Savage, and you're going to get an extra Savage. I don't know if you guys felt like that system works or if it doesn't work at all. Or if you guys even heard anything that I said. So
I heard Savage a lot.
Savage. Heard that you don't like shot, or that you didn't use a shotgun.
No sniper.
No sniper. Sorry, dude.
Nope, it's right. It's the internet. That's what the internet does. So
It's the what?
The internet.
Exactly.
Oh man.
But I think, guys, go ahead.
I did really like the demo. Well, I was just gonna say I did really end up liking the demo. I ended up meeting some random people during the VIP demo, and like almost everybody that I met that I played with during the VIP demo was basically like, you know, yeah, like there were some complaints about the infinite loading screens, but like by like the last day of the demo, by like Saturday or Sunday, like late Saturday, most of Sunday, it really just got to the point where people were like, we had our own kind of fixes for the demo, and we were just putting up with the infinite load screen. But the reason why we were putting up with it, because there was a great game to play underneath it, and like we still like bugs and all, we still ended up like wasting like 6 hours. Like I spent 6 hours with total strangers on Sunday just playing games. I forgot to eat lunch, which I'm a big fella. I rarely forget to eat, and I was just kind of blown away. Like I had that feeling of like I had lost track of time completely.
It happens. It happens when you're playing a good game. So I think overall we enjoyed the demo. We're ready for the next one to show up. We're going to jump in as soon as we can on Friday, and then we're going to go ALP on Saturday. We will see you all there. It's going to be exciting. Get your teams ready. William, get your team ready.
My team will be ready to rock and roll. Best of luck to everybody. I'm serious. I joke around a lot, but this is going to be a time and a half. Thank you guys for putting that on, by the way. That's really, really cool. I really enjoy that.
You bet. You bet. It's been Steve's brainchild, so he planned it, he organized it, he orchestrated it. He's really excited for it. It's going to be fun.
Big round of applause to Steve.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah,
we appreciate all the work that Steve does. So I think, hey Devon, where can people find you on Origin?
Me?
What's your name on Origin?
Never Fear.
Never Fear, but it's not spelled like a normal person would spell something, right?
Well, sometimes you have to spell things differently.
It's got a lot
of
on the website. Nice. Steve, what are you on Origin?
Just Freelancer Codex.
Steve is Freelancer Codex on Origin. I am Codex Mike on Origin. If anybody sees us floating around in there, that's who we are.
JD's not on Origin.
JD's not on Origin, or I would have asked him.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll be on Xbox Live, like I guess some kind of uncivilized buffoon, but that basically sums me up in a nutshell. Anyways, you can find me Boot Dealer, Gamer Tag. I'll take it. You know,
I'm sure you all can guess what mine is.
Yeah, William, why don't you plug all your stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, no, well, I'm Your Anthem on YouTube. The URL is like youtube.com/YourAnthemGame. Twitter, I am Anthem Your. For a little while longer, I'm seeing if YouTube can't give me my damn Your Anthem handle. God, that guy hasn't used it in 8 years, and I'm still having to wait. Anyway. And then Twitch, same story, Your Anthem. Mixer, same story, Your Anthem. Literally, Your Anthem everywhere.
Nice.
All right, Freelancer. This is Freelancers. This has been episode 71 of the Freelancer Codex podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us despite all these technical issues that we're having and my co-host not being able to hear me at all. Until next time, there's a Shaper Storm on the horizon. We'll see you on the other side. Peace.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
You can find us on Twitter at Freelancer Codex, on Facebook at Freelancer Codex, or through email at freelancercodex@gmail.com.